Hi, today I'm going to show you how to bottle your kombucha. This is the next step that you will do after your brew has sat for that 7 to 14 days. This is where you're going to flavor it and it will do a second fermentation. In order to do your second fermentation, you're going to need some bottles to pour your brew into. When we first started doing this, we actually just repurposed old kombucha bottles that we bought from the store, just those regular 16-ounce bottles, and those are fine. As we started brewing more, we wanted to pour more into a bottle instead of flavoring each individual one. So these are all 32-ounce bottles. These are called Classic Boston Rounds. You can find those on Amazon. These are actually bottles that we got from a farm where we bought water kefir from, and they've done a great job for us and helped to keep that fizz in. The best choice would be to use those flip top bottles that you might see at some fine dining restaurant that they serve water out of, but those I think will give you the most fizz. Those bottles personally scare me because the contents are under pressure and they can actually explode if you're not careful. But if you want a lot of fizz, you won't need to let it sit as long, and those flip top bottles are a great choice. So in this step, this is where you're going to do your flavoring, and really, as my husband likes to say,
the world is your oyster.
Whatever you like, whatever flavors you like, that's what you're going to put into your bottles. There's no right or wrong way to do it. We have found if you choose some fruit to put in there that it's going to get a little bit more bubbly than others. Ginger does a really good job too of getting a little bit more fizzy. But we have our favorite flavors that we're going to show you today, but really you literally can flavor it with whatever you want. So I went ahead and did another brew. This is just my sweet tea and water because I'm getting ready to do another first fermentation. I'm going to take my brew that I have that have been sitting for 7 to 14 days, and I'm going to move the SCOBY from this guy into my new brew, and then this one will now sit for that 7 to 14 days. So again, you want to make sure you have nice clean hands. You're just going to reach in there, pull them out, and let it drain a little bit, and then you're going to put it into the new one. Now, if you don't have an extra jar, you want to make sure that you put this into a bowl or a measuring cup and then fill it with some of the kombucha because it can't sit out of that liquid. Now that you've removed the SCOBY, you're ready to take this kombucha that sat for 7 to 14 days and pour it into your bottles. This is a gallon-sized jar. It's not a gallon-sized brew because you need to leave space for that SCOBY. This is actually 3/4 of a gallon of liquid. Typically, I will have room to put it into 2 32-ounce bottles and then 1 16-ounce bottle. I actually have 2 brews going on at the same time because when I split my SCOBY, I put it into 2 separate gallon-sized jars. So I will be able to have enough kombucha to fill these 5 32-ounce bottles. That will also give me that 1 cup starter liquid for each and enough for my fruit fly trap. Now I'm going to show you how to do some of our favorite flavors. So I have some dried hibiscus here. I just grabbed this from an organic market that's by us, and I just label them when I bring them home so I don't forget and have to look it up each time. I do half a teaspoon of hibiscus for 16 ounces. I'm going to double that because these are 32-ounce jars. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of dried hibiscus in here. And then I'm going to mix that with some ginger. Again, this is just dried ginger. I'm going to put, it's for half a teaspoon for 16 ounces, so I'm going to put a teaspoon into this jar here without spilling. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kombucha and I'm going to pour it in. You want to try to get it as close to the top of the jar as you can. Okay, I'll come back to that one after I fill the rest of it. So that one is hibiscus ginger. So the next one I have here, apple chai. Oh, this one's really good, especially for the fall season right now. I'm going to take an apple. I already washed this guy. I'm going to cut it up without cutting my fingers off, hopefully. I don't need this whole thing. I usually do about half a cup of it sliced up and put it into that jar. Okay. Then I'm going to just throw this in the bottom of my jar. So I have half a cup of apple in there. I'm gonna take this chai spice blend. There's lots of yummy flavors in here for fall. There's some cinnamon, some allspice, I think I put some Chinese 5-spice in here, ginger. I don't remember all that's in here, but it's amazing. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put, oh, peppercorns. So there's peppercorn in there.
You're good.
Okay, so that's my apple chai. What do I have here next? Pear. So over the summer we had some really great pears from a local orchard, and I just cut them up and put half a pear in a bag and threw it in the freezer, and I've been using that to flavor my kombucha. So this is just frozen pear that I already cut up, and I'm just going to throw that in the bottom. If you have fresh pear, that's fine too. This was my way to keep some summer flavors alive. It came from a local orchard without having to go back and buy from the store. So now that I'm getting close to the bottom of my jar, I'm actually going to pour out and measure 1 cup, because this is going to be my starter liquid that I'm going to pour on top of my SCOBY for my new brew. And they say it's best if you grab that starter liquid from near the bottom of the jar. So I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to pour that on top of my SCOBY from my brew that I'm just starting today. So now I'm going to take the remaining liquid that's in here, pour it in here. I should probably only give me about half of this bottle. Okay, to be continued. All right, now this is from my 2nd gallon size jar. Okay. Now I'm gonna do blackberry ginger. This one is amazing. Again, these are frozen blackberries that I just tossed in a bag. They came from a local orchard from our CSA this summer. So every time we got them, I just tossed a couple of them in a bag. You do not need a half a cup of these because these are way sweet. All right, so I put my blackberries in the bottom, and I'm gonna put 1 teaspoon of ginger in here. If you have 16-ounce bottles, you just need a teaspoon. Short people problems. I have to get on my toes every time I do this. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is lavender. This sounds weird, but tastes amazing. I'm going to take that same thing. This is just dried lavender that I got from a market near our house. Half a teaspoon for 16 ounces. So I'm just going to put this in the bottom. Do that without spilling like I did. And then fill it up.
Almost there. Okay, stop.
Okay, so now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to try to top off each one of these to try to get it as close to the top as possible. Okay, that's really close to the top. Alright, so that'll give me just enough to pour some in here to create my fruit fly trap. Alright, the last thing you're going to do is put the lid on. Try to get it as tight as you can. And that's how to bottle your kombucha. That's going to start your 2nd fermentation. You're going to leave these bottles out for about 2 to 4 days, and then once you start to see more bubbles at the top, you'll put it in the refrigerator, and that will slow down that fermentation process. But I hope that you experiment with lots of different flavors. That's one of the best parts of this, is that you can literally do whatever you want. If you have any cool flavors that you've tried, we'd love to hear it. So comment below so we can try some of your favorite flavors too. Honestly, a lot of my ideas have come from this book. It's called The Big Book of Kombucha. Hannah Crum, she's known as the Kombucha Mama. So if you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. There's lots of great information in here. That's how I really learned how to do all of this. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And if you have no idea what this is and you're wondering what we're doing, check out our other video about how to do your very first brew for the first fermentation in kombucha. Thanks. Okay, so again, this is how to do your okay.